Okay, so let's talk about the wizard list situation. Now, if you live under a rock or this is just a situation that's just not on your radar, Wizard Liz is a content creator. I think she has over like a million views, or not a million views, a million subscribers on both YouTube and TikTok. And she's one of those like motivational speaker type pseudo therapist kind of creators who's constantly giving like life advice. And I'm not her biggest fan. So I wasn't like on my hands and knees like crying and bawling my eyes out over the situation that happened. However, I did watch a couple of her videos. I think maybe it was probably more like 2022, 2023. And I liked her for the fact that she doesn't like coddle you. She's not like, oh, well, you're like, you got this girl, you're amazing, you're everything, you're every good thing over the sun. No, she like will talk to you in a way like a really harsh big sister will do. And she's gorgeous. I mean, Wizard Liz is like, incredibly beautiful. So, definitely the first thing, like her talking style and the kind of content she makes appeal to me, but it didn't hurt that she was a baddie. So I was like, oh, aspirational, but like, again, it's 2026. I don't think I've seriously watched her content since that time. Now, if you don't know what happened, Wizard Liz, and forgive me for this video, I didn't do too much research onto how she got with Landon, her ex-husband, her slash baby daddy, or that whole situation. I'm just like giving you secondhand accounts of what I saw on TikTok. But pretty much what it was, she got married to this guy, but she knew under a year, like the marriage, engagement, uh everything, meeting him, everything happened in under a year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everything even happened under 6 months. She had a baby. He turned out to be wilding, and it got to a point where her papers were under review, or there's something wrong with her papers. So she had to leave the country. I believe she's in London, but I'm not sure. And she had to leave her baby, and her baby daddy is basically using her baby as leverage to try and extort her. And he did a whole bunch of, I mean, he did, and he's doing a whole bunch of like trifling ish to her. Now, I've heard people said that Landon's ex, like, she came to Liz as a woman to say that, like, Landon's not the best guy in the world. And according to what I've seen, she used her platform to basically try and discredit this girl and kind of bury her in the name of, her baby daddy. And then she didn't listen to anything she had to say. And then lo and behold, he's acting exactly like the ex girlfriend said she does. And again, secondhand accounts, so I'm not like 100% sure, but it said that like whether the girl, I don't know if she's just like promiscuous, quote unquote, or she's engaged in some kind of sex work. But I've heard people say that Liz said that because of that lifestyle, she's not somebody who could be trusted. Now, there are two different views on like the situation, and I've mostly just seen black and white. There's people who are saying that she deserves what she got because um scenery change. My grandma kicked me out of the other room, but I think this one is a little bit better. So yeah, there are people who are saying that she deserved what she got because she didn't heed the warnings of the ex, or maybe heed any red flags that Landon might have had. And then there are people who saying that, like, because obviously she has a lot of followers, she has a lot of supporters, and they're saying that, like, oh, she's being blackmailed, she's being extorted, she's being hurt, she doesn't deserve any of what's happening to her. And we as women need to stop tearing down other women. Like, whatever abuse that she's getting online is not warranted. Now, here's my 2 cents that she didn't ask for. Um, I think both sides have validity, but I'm proposing like a third view. The first is that even if she's guilty of discrediting and burying the girlfriend, which she shouldn't have done, She, as a human being, does not deserve what's happening to her. She doesn't deserve to be robbed of her baby. She doesn't deserve to be abused by her husband, whether it's financially, whether it's physically, whether it's emotionally. She doesn't deserve to have a marriage ruined that she committed to in less than a year. Like, she doesn't deserve to have her heart broken like this because she's a human being. And even if you might think she's not the best human being, no human being deserves to be caught up in trauma and abuse and just cycles of like blackness. And Wizard Liz, to her credit, like because of who she is and at least who her public persona is, she's not gonna get on the internet and like cry and sob and be like, please, Landon, give me back my baby. Please, guys, do whatever you can to help me. She's gonna get on the internet hard and thug it out. And don't mind how she's saying that, like, oh, if you're gonna leave a guy, you should leave him with the baby, blase blase, which I think that like I don't think that's the worst take, honestly. Like, people think that like, oh, you should fight to have the baby because in that situation he's definitely using the baby as leverage to manipulate her. So leaving the guy with the baby is a way it can be a power move. I'm not saying it's not a power move, but Wizard Liz is somebody who, even if she's not showing it, this is speculation though, please, sorry, I don't know her, so I don't want to be that person where I'm saying like, oh, I know her, but like, she's Middle Eastern, and people from cultures that are not Eurocentric, there's a very heavy emphasis on the woman, especially mother, to be caring, to be nurturing, to be present in a way, even in Western culture. But you know that, like, in cultures that are farther from the West, there's just more of a pronouncement. So for her to be separated by her baby like this, that is not something that's easy. It's quite heartbreaking. And for people who are also criticizing, because I found it a little funny too that she said that, like, oh, in the mistakes, I saw a comment where somebody said that, like, oh, like, you're human, you make mistakes, like, it's okay, like, everybody makes mistakes. And she said that, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. And if I had to do it again, I would do anything differently. I thought that was kind of weird, but you also have to remember, like, she's literally being traumatized. She's being traumatized by her husband. She's being traumatized by the fact that her papers aren't in order. She's being traumatized by the fact that, like, I know I saw a recent TikTok with her where her sister was by her side, but I don't know if her parents are in the equation, if they're with her in London. So there's just like a whole bunch going on. So if I was her and I was literally in attack mode and I didn't really have the space to be like vulnerable, I probably wouldn't be arguing. Like, if I was like hurt, abused, beat up, and people are saying that, like, well, this is kind of your fault. That's not what I want to hear right now. I want to hear from people who are sticking up for me. So in that, her only engaging with content with people who are just like 100% supporting her, I don't really blame her. That being said, from the standpoint that she doesn't deserve what's happening to her, I don't think she deserves to be blamed either. Before I go to my next point, because again, like, even if you have a girl who is very insensitive, let's say she dates somebody who is a rapist, right? And she was abusing his ex-girlfriends, abusing his other ex-girlfriends, and saying that, like, oh, he didn't do this, like supporting him. Then lo and behold, that she gets raped. It's a very human reaction to be like, she got exactly what was coming for her, right? But I guess from a more, if you want to be humane, understanding, compassionate, better than the person who was just supporting her rapist boyfriend, and from a godly centric perspective as well, not for an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth kind of thing, but like, she doesn't deserve what's happening to her, and she shouldn't have had what's happening to her. Okay. That being said, though, I don't believe in the notion of like, I have to toe this line where I don't want to be like victim blaming per se, but I don't believe in the notion, like the blanket notion where it's just like, oh, like, she doesn't deserve anything what's happening to her, it's all on Landon. I don't want to victim blame because, again, I already said that she doesn't deserve to be abused. But let's say, from two socioeconomic classes, right? There's the hood, right? There's the hood where, you're going to leave your door locked and you're going to lash it 3 times, because if you leave your door open, you're going to get robbed. And then there's people in the suburbs or like isolated country places, just like out in the Midwest or wherever, where people don't lock their doors because they know that they're not going to get robbed, because it's just that kind of community. Maybe it's even gated. If somebody breaks in to the place in the hood in the trap because they decided that, oh, I'm just not going to lock my door. They just don't lock their door for whatever reason. Nothing happened. And one day they leave their door open and somebody breaks in. It's not their fault that they got robbed, you know. However, however, that doesn't mean that you can't take that opportunity to tell people to lock their doors. And one thing I don't really like that I feel like is very unrealistic with gender based violence is that just because it's gender based doesn't mean that people shouldn't take precautions when it comes to violence. There's this feminist take that instead of encouraging girls to be more careful when it comes to gender based violence, so that's sexual assault, rape, like all of this other stuff, we should be encouraging males or making sexual violence in a way where we should be destigmatizing it so men don't do it in the first place. And should we destigmatize it and create more education so men don't think it's okay? Of course. However, gender based violence shouldn't be erased just because it's gender based. Violence is violence. You know, like people should still take precautions when it comes to gender-based violence. Like people should still have, grape whistles. People should still, there should be measurements and checking in place to prevent violence. Because would you rather have, I'm sorry, prevention is better than cure. Would you rather lock your door and have the peace of mind that like even if you might still get robbed, you took you took a chance or you took an active preventative measure to make sure you don't get robbed, or would you just sleep with your door open because thieves are terrible and thieves should not be robbing you anyway? The thief is still going to rob you. So I've never understood that take. So I don't, because one of the people who I saw that made me like want to make this video, because one of the creators that I really like, love and respect, Jax, she made a video like defending Liz, and she said that she didn't deserve it, which she didn't. But I don't really agree with the take that like it's all men's fault, because this is something with both genders. We tend to be more critical of our gender than we do the opposite gender. So what they're saying about like us being people being overly critical of Liz is true, instead of like also looking into what made that thing possible. However, we can analyze the Wizard Liz situation and have compassion for her while also using it as a call to be like, if you're in a situation where you hear something not then less ideal about the guy, maybe you should pay attention to what you're hearing. Maybe you shouldn't just be so blinded by love that, you know, you get into a situation where you get married to somebody who you don't really know. And then you have to reap you have to reap the consequences of getting married to said person who you don't really know. Like this can be like, and I feel like that's what people should be doing, because I, again, there's some people who are also using it as an opportunity to be like, oh, like this could happen to you. And I'm not saying that, because I feel like even if you're in love and people say that make love makes love blind, I feel like it's like the same thing where the girls who have, I'm sorry, but children are a blessing from God, etc., etc. But it's like the people who have like three, four, five different baby daddies by five different people, and they're like, and they're on the sick, and the sick did something crazy, and they're like, oh, don't judge because it could be you. That's not what I'm saying. However, I'm saying don't judge because you might find yourself in a situation where you have somebody that you loved and you trusted, and they betrayed that trust and love. And I think that everybody can attest to something like that. And if you can attest to something like that, you're probably going to encounter you're probably going to encounter a situation like that in the future. So from that perspective, I think we can draw our compassion. But yeah, I think that like my main things about this is like be careful who you're dating. Definitely be careful. It's not even because if she was married to him, she could have split up with him easy, like one, two, three, four, five. She wouldn't even be talking about him anymore at this point. But people need to think about who they're having babies with, because F who you're getting married to. Like, yes, marriage is a covenant, blase, blase. But I guess from like a secular perspective, you can get married to somebody, break up, and move on with your life. Even from a Christian perspective, let's say, because you can still move on, get on with your life, but like that person is not in your life for the 18 years that you have that child. That person is in your life forever. You are never getting rid of them, even if you want to. So please be careful who you're having kids with. Please be careful. I think that everybody should get some sort of background check or something, even if it's just within the community. Who are their exes? What has he done to their exes? Does he have any kids? Who is, because now she's bashing the mother in law. I mean, what did you know about the mother in law before you got married? Pay close attention to the family. And that's another thing that people from like cultures who aren't westernized, I feel like they do like a lot of like due diligence on, because you owe a lot more to the family if you're not in the West, because it's the family is everything. Like everything's just all ingrained together. You can't get rid of them because they're always there. But yeah, and I think we should also use this opportunity to just like have warnings about gender-based violence without it being like, oh, men are terrible. No, no, violence is violence. And in such cases where violence is violence, yes, we should be having education. We should destigmatize the violence that exists, but we should also be careful. So that's what I have to say about the situation. Let me know what you think in the comments, because I don't want to spread disinformation or come from a place where I'm not saying what needs to be said. But yeah, that's what I think.